like seeing the floor a little
Hell
bit?
yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Like I said, she spreads the floor for us. A lot of people are going to just focus on her. So it gives us opportunities, just show everybody that can score the ball. So, I'm excited. We got a lot more years together.
The Indiana Fever dropping a bombshell on Caitlin Clark sent shockwaves through the WNBA, leaving fans and players alike buzzing with disbelief. A franchise historically known for its steady, if unspectacular, presence in the league, the Fever flipped the script with one unexpected move that nobody saw coming. To say it caught the basketball world off guard would be putting it mildly. The Fever, a team typically focused on development and youth, wasn't expected to be the center of any headline news, especially concerning a star like Caitlin Clark. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Now, for those unfamiliar, Caitlin Clark isn't just another talented player. She's a phenomenon. Bursting onto the college basketball scene, she quickly established herself as a dominant force, with her on-court swagger, long-range shooting, and unmatched playmaking ability. Clark played the game with a unique flair that turned heads and made even the casual observer stop and watch. She didn't just play basketball, she performed it, like a conductor guiding a symphony, orchestrating every movement with precision. The WNBA had been eyeing her for some time, with scouts eagerly awaiting her eventual leap to the pros. The expectation was that any team would have to move mountains to secure a player of her caliber. So, how did the Fever manage to drop such a bombshell on Caitlin Clark? Let's backtrack a bit and understand the landscape that led to this stunning development. The Indiana Fever had been in a rebuilding phase for several years, struggling to recapture the glory days when Tamika Catchings led the franchise to prominence. With a young core of players, they had slowly been piecing together a competitive roster, but they were still a few key pieces away from truly making noise in the league. Clark was widely viewed as the kind of player that could change a franchise's fortunes overnight. A generational talent capable of pulling a team from the depths of mediocrity and turning them into contenders. Every team wanted her, and the Fever seemed like a long shot at best to land such a star. Then came the twist that no one anticipated. The Fever, known for playing their cards close to the vest, had apparently been working behind the scenes, quietly setting up for a big move. It wasn't just that they had secured Clark, but how they did it. As it turned out, Indiana had been stacking assets and positioning themselves strategically in the draft, making moves that in retrospect seem almost genius. It was a chess game, and they played it to perfection. Clark, for her part, is a player who thrives under the spotlight. Throughout her college career, she had demonstrated time and again her ability to perform under pressure, often taking over games in critical moments. Her confidence, bordering on cockiness, made her a lightning rod for attention. Whether it was a step-back three from 5 feet behind the arc or a laser pass to a cutting teammate, Clark made the impossible look routine. But there was also a playfulness to her game, a sense that she wasn't just playing to win, but playing to entertain. It wasn't uncommon to see her flash a sly grin after sinking a dagger three-pointer or shaking her head at an opponent who dared to challenge her. This kind of charisma wasn't lost on the Fever front office. They knew that landing Clark wouldn't just bring wins, it would bring relevance. It would electrify the fan base, put butts in seats, and make Indiana a must-watch team. The Fever hadn't had a player like that since Catchings, and Clark was the type of player who could not only carry the torch but light it up in a way no one had seen before. The Fever's pursuit of her wasn't just about talent. It was about making a statement. They wanted to show the league that they were serious about becoming contenders again, and in doing so, they set the stage for one of the most shocking moments in recent WNBA memory. However, what truly shocked everyone wasn't just the move itself, but how seamlessly the Fever pulled it off. Behind the scenes, Indiana had worked the phones, negotiating trades, acquiring draft capital, and positioning themselves to make a play for Clark. When the dust settled, it was clear they had outmaneuvered everyone. The Fever had swooped in and nabbed the hottest prospect in years, and they did it in such a way that it left the rest of the league scrambling to figure out what had just happened. It wasn't just a bombshell, it was a masterclass in strategy. Clark, of course, took it all in stride. Known for her calm demeanor off the court, she wasn't one to be rattled by the attention or the pressure. In fact, she seemed to thrive on it. Her social media presence was one of quiet confidence, as if to say, "Yeah, I know I'm good, and now it's time to show everyone." But beneath that cool exterior, you could sense the fire burning. She was ready to take the WNBA by storm, and now she had the perfect stage to do it. Indiana, a team long seen as a work in progress, was suddenly the team to watch, and Clark, the face of that transformation, was poised to make her mark. For the Fever, this move wasn't just about securing a star player. It was about turning the tide of their franchise. The implications of this move were massive. A team that had been on the fringes of relevancy was now squarely in the conversation for playoff contention and potentially more. Adding Clark to their roster didn't just make them better. It changed the entire dynamic of the league. Suddenly, every game against the Fever became must-see TV. Other teams would now have to prepare for the unique challenge that Clark presented. She wasn't just another scorer. She was a player who could break down defenses with her passing, drain threes from impossible angles, and rallied her teammates with her relentless energy. The impact on the Fever's culture was immediate. Clark's arrival injected a new level of excitement and optimism into the organization. The team, which had struggled with consistency in recent years, now had a clear leader, someone who could not only deliver in crunch time but also inspire those around her. The younger players on the roster, many of whom had shown promise but lacked a true veteran presence to guide them, now had a role model to look up to. Clark wasn't just a scorer, she was a leader, someone who could elevate the play of everyone around her. On the marketing front, the Fever were quick to capitalize on the moment. Clark's jerseys sold out within days, and her face was plastered on every promotional material imaginable. Fans who had been indifferent to the team suddenly found themselves rooting for the Fever, eager to see what Clark would bring to the table. In a league where star power can often dictate a team's success, both on and off the court, Clark's presence gave the Fever a much-needed boost. Attendance at games spiked, and the team's social media following grew exponentially as basketball fans from all over tuned in to see what Clark would do next. But while the Fever celebrated their new star, other teams around the league were left to wonder how they had been outplayed so thoroughly. Teams that had been positioning themselves for a chance to land Clark were forced to go back to the drawing board. Some, undoubtedly, were kicking themselves for not being more aggressive in their pursuit of the young star. In a league where every move is scrutinized, the Fever's bold play for Clark stood out as a stroke of genius, and it sent a clear message. Indiana was no longer content to be a rebuilding team. They were coming for a championship, and they had the player to lead them there. In the end, the Fever's bombshell move wasn't just a momentary shock. It was a turning point. For years, Indiana had been searching for a player who could take them to the next level, and in Clark, they found exactly that. Her combination of skill, charisma, and leadership was exactly what the team needed to not only become competitive again, but to change the entire narrative surrounding the franchise. It was a move that would be remembered for years to come, a defining moment in the history of the WNBA, and one that cemented Caitlin Clark's status as one of the brightest stars the league had ever seen. As for Clark herself, she didn't seem fazed by the expectations or the hype. She embraced the challenge with the same confidence that had made her a college sensation, ready to prove that the Fever's faith in her was well placed. Indiana, once an afterthought in the WNBA, was now at the center of the basketball world's attention, and it was all because of one bold move that changed everything. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.